Alright, we just fired the truck up. Let's take a look. You notice when I zoom in here, I call it like a dancing spark plug, but you'll see some movement in a couple of the spark plugs here. Let's take a look. So right here you can see the normal ones aren't moving at all. And you see this one back here jumping around. See how it's kind of jostling in the cylinder there? Let's take a look at the other side. And a little bit harder to see here. But again, you see that one in the background versus the closer one is dancing around a little bit. So let's take a look at our options. Okay, truck has about 110,000 miles on it. Basically, when you're diagnosing a problem like this, it could be one of a bunch of different things. It could be just your spark plugs are loose. Either they need to be changed, your spark plug wires, or your coilover packs, or a distributor if you have an older car. Alright, so we'll check all that first. If that's not it, what will happen a lot of times in the aluminum thread is that you'll pop the thread and it'll basically be moving around because there's nothing for the spark plug to grip onto. Worst case scenario, you have a manifold leak, a head leak, something like that, or the actual head or your crankcase is cracked. So worst case scenario, usually you could tell that a little bit sooner because you'll have fluid leaking, and you can even just do a simple check as far as looking at your oil, checking the oil on a dipstick, make sure it's not milky, you don't have any water or antifreeze mixing in with your oil. So we're going to diagnose all that, but first we're going to take out the spark plugs. And I started off taking one side of the spark plugs out from the cylinders on the driver's side. Basically, the first thing I noticed, all three of them were slightly loose, and the two in the middle were even worse than the first one. So let's take a look and we'll examine the spark plugs here. Basically, you can see we got something going on each one of them. The first one here looks almost like normal wear. It's got a slight burn, but from 100 and something thousand miles, looks pretty normal. What's going on with these two? These were the ones that were probably the most loose out of all four of them, and you could see you have some cylinder burn that's coming through the plugs here. They're darker than the other two, and you could tell that when the pistons are going up and down and they're firing, it's coming out through the threads because they're just not threaded in all the way. The one on the end looks okay, but it's got some same thing happening. It's got some oil burn on the outside, and it's a little bit wetter than the other ones, which means that he's got some oil coming out. They don't look too bad, and hopefully this project will just be that the last one that did the plugs didn't torque them to spec or put them in well enough. So I'll show you the tools I'm using. Basically just I think it's a 3/8 drive, and just some tips I want to share with you. Definitely get a spark plug socket, because they stick into like a little rubber grommet that's inside of there, and what happens is when you pull them out of the cylinders, it stays inside the spark plug socket. Your choice to use a kind of a breaker bar or a ratchet. I got my set of mechanics gloves here, and right now he's got the AC Delcos in there, and always what I like to do is use the same damn brand. If you go with some Bosch freaking crazy ass shit, it's not meant for your motor. You need to get what's OEM spec for your motor, unless you're throwing your shit up on a dyno or you're a mechanic and you know what you're doing. Just go with the same brand that your car suggests. Also get some anti-seize lubricant. It's high temp stuff. Basically what it does is it makes sure that your new plugs that you're putting in there aren't getting corroded, and that when you go to change out the next set, they're not going to be locked in there. A lot of the times if you're running a really hot motor, these things are going to be burnt, and it's like you need an impact wrench to get these damn spark plugs out. Especially with this motor, they're extremely difficult to get to. These are easier on this side because they come out on an angle towards me. The other side, they go the opposite way, so we're going to have a more difficult time reaching these. You can see they come out like that, right down in there. It faces away from you, so it's a little bit harder. So definitely get a universal socket joint so you can get down in there and this thing can twist and turn any way it needs to go. So let's take out the other 4. We're gonna take a look at the other side. We're gonna grease up the new plugs, the OEM plugs with the anti-seize lubricant, throw them back in there, and hopefully that'll fix the problem. Again, you can always do a compression test at this point. You could do a wet and a dry compression test, squirt some oil in there and do a wet compression test after you do the dry and see what your differences are. Look at your manual, see what the compression ratio is supposed to be for your motor. But hopefully this will fix the job and we'll take a look. Another quick tip is to just go over the spark plug wires. Basically these have just a little heat shield that's built into them. See if I can pull this one off. So this is basically the spark plug wire here, but these already have built-in heat shields. All I'm really gonna do, just another idea for you guys if you want to do it. This one here, this was cylinder 3 on the driver's side. This is how it's laid out as you're looking at it front to back. This one, number 3, was just getting beat up a lot. It was really burnt. So all I'm going to do, I'm basically just going to take these and flip-flop them with these two. That way, in case this one's got a little bit of wear on it, it won't be as bad now with the, if that is the cylinder or some sort of issue with the hole. Because I'm not going to be replacing these at this time. So it is a good idea to replace them, but for now, it's easier to just identify it, with the plugs alone. Because later on, you could just pull these off in about 2 minutes and put new ones on. So I'm just going to flip-flop them and hopefully that'll give it a little bit more life. Alright, we've replaced all 8 of the plugs. They all looked pretty shot. There was cylinder 2 over here from the front to the back. Looked really bad, 2 and 3. And especially number 3 over here looked really, really bad. It looked terrible. So let's fire it up and we'll see how we did. Start it up easy. Let's take a look. Alright, nice and steady. Doesn't look like any of them are moving. Let's check the other side. Okay. See if I can get it. Okay, good. They look nice and solid. Alright, sometimes it's as easy as that. It was just a case of all the plugs not being torqued enough. So, guys, next time you got a case of the dancing spark plugs, hopefully this video will help you out and you'll know what to do. Alright, take care and I'll see you next time.